Guys, Rick De La Thick in the house, and I got my disco sunglasses on, and I was gonna play some disco tunes as well, my huge. But I figured that this is a little more serious video, an important topic here. I'm gonna be replying to a question somebody asked me, and I will read the question out to you, and I will give you my thoughts. This is a reply to a man named Mason. This one's for you, Mason. I read this question, and I figured this is a great video. Great topic to address on video as opposed to just writing a text response. So Mason writes, is there any pride in staying natural? It seems that the general population only admires people that are chemically assisted, whether it be strength sports or bodybuilding. It's so socially acceptable and common now that only steroid users are being glorified, and natural athletes are overshadowed, especially with the amount of people in the industry that use substances and lie about it. And they take away from the people that never do them. Hope you reply, Rick De La Stick, because you're one of the few individuals that inspire me to stay natural. Well, thanks, Mason. And I will reply, and let's break it down on a sentence by sentence format. So, Mason, let's address sentence number 1. Is there any pride in staying natural? Well, Mason, I'm glad you asked that. And I'm willing to say this, that there's more pride in being natural because you know that it's all you. All your gains in dense muscle fibers and strength are all you. You did it. You put the effort in and thus reaped the rewards. Solely through hard work with diet and exercise, you made that happen. You didn't take a drug or you didn't take compound X, Y, Z, whatever it may be, so you know exactly how you got to that end game. You know exactly how you achieved your goal. So there's more pride in that than if you got to the goal through taking XYZ, whatever it may be. Is there really any pride in that? Reaching your goal through just taking a substance? Because you didn't do it. You didn't put the work in. The substance did the work for you. And what comes up must come down, right? Easy come, easy go, the classic saying. And it's true. Say if you built 20 pounds of thick, dense muscle fibers, you're not going to lose that. And even take it from someone like me, where when I had surgery and I stopped training for 6 weeks or something around that, guys, I lost almost 30 pounds. But you know what? It came back and then some. Now, you think if I was taking drugs and I got to 235 pounds through taking drugs, if I got off, I would lose the weight and then somehow it would come back without the drugs? You think I would gain more than when I was on the drugs? No. If I were to take the drugs, I would get to higher points than Natty, obviously. But at some point, whether it be I don't have a source, right? Maybe I was taking something that's now illegal, health complications, I need to stop taking it. And then all your supposed gains, now they're gone. And then how do you deal with that? How do you cope with that? Because now you built an image, you built an identity around being this, whatever, 240, 250, 260 pound lean monster that's deadlifting 700, 800 pounds. But all of a sudden, that's not you anymore. You can't do that anymore. So that's going to lead a little bit to depression. Unless you hop back on the sauce. And then it's just this vicious cycle. Also, I don't know if I just addressed this because I'm just looking at my notes. But you won't regress. Like in terms of strength, for instance. Take it from someone like me. When I focus on something, I get stronger and stronger day by day or week by week because I'm neurologically getting more efficient with that particular movement. But if I stop doing that movement, I will lose a lot of the strength, but I can get it back very easily if I choose to work on that particular movement again. And I think I urge you guys, if you don't believe me, I have a 425 pound decline bench press video where it's called like longest rep in history or something like that. The hardest, longest rep for that 425 decline for that one. And today, after I started focusing on pressing again, I did 425 easily for the first rep. So I did it for 2. If I was on the sauce to get to 425 and then I had to get off or whatever, I wouldn't get back to that point. You think I would double 425? Unless I was a noob, that is. But that's for a different video. And then the last point about addressing that first question is you'll just be a positive influence, right? Like, is there any pride in staying natural? Well, about everything else I just said, plus you'll be a positive influence to your peers. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, but drug users tend to hang out with drug users, right? It doesn't have to be steroids. It could be any drug. People do coke, they're going to hang out with other people that do coke. People that drink a lot, usually going to hang out with people that drink a lot, and so on. So if you're natural and the people around you, like they think, oh man, you're really jacked, you're really strong, how do you do it? And then you're going to give them solid, legit advice to get to that point. Whereas if it was through shooting up chemicals, you're probably like, yeah, bro, you just gotta take this, you gotta take that, that'll get you bulked up, and then you just take this to get shredded, right? So then all of a sudden you're a toxic influence around people. So maybe you don't care when you're young because it's cool to be a rebel when you're young, but as you get older, you typically want to be a good person, and that only increases more and more the older you get. Sentence number 2. It seems that the general population only admires people that are chemically assisted, whether it be strength sports or bodybuilding. So you're talking about general population. So I'm going to disagree. No, not the general population. You're talking about a very niche population, very niche community. So general population only admires people that are chemically assisted. No, again, niche community only admires those people. So it's talking about, you're saying whether it's bodybuilding or strength sports. So bodybuilding is a very niche community. The people that attend bodybuilding shows, they're fascinated by these physiques because it's interesting to see such things out of the ordinary. But if you really get down to the nitty gritty of it, the bodybuilders are essentially mutants, right? They're mutants because it's physiologically not possible for being natural. So a bodybuilding show for elite bodybuilding is really not much different than back in the day in circuses and going to freak shows, right? You have your audience and then you have your supposed freaks, the bearded lady, right? The 3-headed man, right? That's what it is. And that's a very niche community. If you're talking about general population, the general population will admire a very jacked natural physique. I'll tell you that much. I'm 235 pounds, pretty lean right now. When I go to the beach or I go to the pool with my family, like, I don't want to inflate my ego. It's not what it's about. But people always will look at me because I'm bigger than the ordinary person and I'm lean, right? If I'm wearing like a sleeveless shirt or something, even if I'm just in normal clothes, because I'm 235 pounds, typically if it's a stranger, they're going to compliment like my size. Or not compliment it, but they're going to comment on it. And that's attainable naturally. So like I'm 6'1", 6'2", in between there. Still have to get the official gas station measurement. Over 6'1", let's put it that way. And I'm 235. So whatever, if you're 6 foot, naturally you should get to 220, 225, something along those. If you're 5'11", you'll probably get to 200, 210 naturally, right? And it's like at a certain point for every inch, it's like you can get about 10 more pounds on her. So that's very bro science, but from typically people that I've looked at, that seems to be the case. Someone that's 6'3" will get to about 240-ish if they were like up to their peak natty limits. And listen, guys, I don't even care, even if you're 200 pounds, depending, on your height, but 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, you're going to have people look at you and you're going to have people comment on, hey, you're a pretty big guy. You're going to get those comments. You don't need to be steroid out, drugged out freak for people to admire or respect your build. I'm just trying to pick up where I left off here. Yeah, admire was the word you used. But yeah, let me see. Oh yeah, also like only on the internet is someone like me, for instance, 235 pounds going to be called a do you even lift by certain delusional idiots out there. Again, that's not the real world. But the thing is, the internet has pros and cons. Like, only on the internet will suit someone that's 230, 240 be called small. But then again, only on the internet where someone that's 140, 150 or whatever be called jacked and diced. And it's because of angles and it's because of lighting and all that great stuff. Like, the majority of really popular YouTubers are super small, right? But people think they're gigantic and they think they're super ripped because of editing and lighting and angles and close-ups and all that. So really, you just got to play to your strengths. If you are reaching your top natty limits, people are going to think you're a pretty big dude in real life. And then if you want them to think you're a pretty big dude on the internet, all you have to do is find the good lighting, and you just got to take pictures that are flattering. You understand what I'm saying? Everyone does that. Obviously, gear users will do that as well. But like, what you're saying is only these people admire drug users, and that's not true. You can be admired. You're obviously referring to over the internet, of course. So if you want to be admired on the internet, you just got to work on your finding the best lights and your angles and things of that sort. And then in the real world, just get jacked and stacked, dude. Eat a lot of calories, lift heavy weights. You'll be plenty swole for people to respect your physique. Where did I leave off? Okay, and then in terms of, so that was about bodybuilding. So in terms of strength, then, I do agree with you that drug users really have diluted the accomplishments of true natural strength barriers, or I don't even know what I'm trying to say, the word I'm thinking of. But yeah, it's like 600-pound deadlift used to be impressive. And then a 700-pound deadlift used to be impressive. And now, because it's the internet and it's getting so much more saturated by people on all sorts of chemicals and things of that sort, now even 800 deadlifts like not exciting to watch. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you got to take that for what it's worth, that it comes with the territory, but people are starting to wise up. Like, people are starting to more easily identify what's natural and what's not. And in the end, people are going to respect progress. Like, I'm trying to look at my notes. God, my notes are horrible. It's the progress that people are going to respect and admire. Even if you have someone that's deadlifting 315 to start, if they get to 585, you're going to get plenty of admiration, because it's like, wow, man, you put a lot of work into that, versus someone that just uploads one clip of an 800-pound deadlift. It's like, wow, that guy's a beast, 800-pound deadlift. But then where do you go from there? You understand what I'm saying? Like, at least if you're natural, you can consistently make progress, and you're not relying on something like I mentioned in point A, or the first point. Oh yeah, and also that's the internet. In the real world, you're not going to see 700-800-pound deadlifts in just about any of the gyms you go to. I can guarantee you that. Very rare to see in the real world. And like I said, you won't be dealing with losing your strength when you come off cycle. Like, that strength is there to stay. You've earned it, and the stuff that is hard, that is earned through hard work, is typically hard to lose. Impressive. Oh yeah, but then again, you're talking about general population anyways. That's what you said, the general population. The general population is going to respect a 400-pound deadlift. The general population are pretty dumb for the most part. So you're not doing it for the general population. You're doing it for this niche community. But again, in the end, it's progress that's impressive. And ultimately, man, you got to look at it as you got to do what makes you happy. And progress is going to make you happy. Right? Any progress that you make through roids or drugs or anything, like any of that satisfaction that you gain through that, that's not going to last. Like, it's like you're going to be in this honeymoon phase, but then all of a sudden that becomes your new baseline. And then what happens when you have to get off cycle? And now all of a sudden that was your baseline, now you're here. Or now you're plateaued at your new baseline, and then you're just going to be looking for the next trick in the bag, right? The next chemical, the next drug, and it's just going to be a downward slope. And then the last point, I only got 20-some seconds left. You're talking about how it's so socially acceptable and common now that steroid users are glorified. No, it's not acceptable, and that's why there's fake natties. That's why people still lie about it. It's because it's not acceptable, and ultimately those people are frauds, and they know they're frauds, and that's why they're lying about it. And anyone that's smart can identify that. and they built their entire image on being a fraud. So they can't really go back from that. That's my 15 minutes. Boom.